Palmer.
Here.
Commissioner Livermore.
Here.
Commissioner Evans. Here. Councilmember Herring.
Here.
Andrew Hamill has resigned. He is taking a class at this time, and it's inconvenient for him to be here. And so we have an opening on the agenda, or on the membership. We're working on that, and I know Madeline also wants to be off, and so my plan is.
With the next one off.
Yeah, right, you are next, and we don't want to lose you. We don't want to lose you, but on the other hand, we understand that once the snow flies, we're done. So, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? You guys
Sure.
always do a good job. That's my discussion. Yeah, approved, yes.
Commissioner Palmer.
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore.
Yes.
Commissioner Evans. Yes. Passes.
Thank you. So the first item we have on the agenda is 6-8 Grove Street. And John, would you just give us a rundown on the situation there? We didn't get any pre-information on this, so it's good for us to be brought up to speed. You do have photographs in your packet.
Yeah, I actually went to this one.
Okay, great.
As you can see in the photograph, the upper, so there's basically two covered porches and then an upper deck. The upper deck appears to be failing, that roof structure. So that roof area is collapsing, but if you go to the next photo, that's kind of just an outline, but go to the next.
That's it. There's three.
There's one on the reverse side, there should be a third, maybe it just didn't come through, but the actual beam that carries the horizontal kind of structure there is actually split. So the beam that's between those two posts is actually, gone.
Yeah, you can see them.
You can see it starting to, but from the other side, it's actually, it's split in half.
More pronounced.
Okay, under chapter 92 is responsibility of the Board of Public Service to determine first whether the recommendation of the Code Enforcement Office that this property is unsafe. We have to go by the criteria in 92.1. But before we get to that, I'm going to let Michelle speak a little bit about her position on this particular recommendation from the Code Enforcement Office.
Yes, thank you. My husband went with Steve to look at the property, and because it is a student rental, we don't want the students out there on the porches, and we have locks on them, but we just would like to take them off so that there is no issues at all about the students going out on those porches.
So it's
Take the
our
porches off,
understanding.
you say.
Correct, we
So
will
it's
take
our
the porches
understanding that
off.
this is an approved, the property owner approves of the unsafe, and then it will speed the process of getting the porches off.
Okay.
Are there any other issues on the property that we should be identifying? So this really is C, those which have improperly distributed loads upon the floors or roofs, or in which the same are overloaded, or which have insufficient strength to be reasonably safe for the purpose used. Maybe D, those which have been damaged by fire, wind, or other causes so to become dangerous to life safety, morals and general welfare of the occupants or the people of the city. Those are two obvious criteria. I suppose the one before it, B, would also 33% or more deterioration on supporting members. These are not considered egress place. I mean, they're not part of the.
Yeah, they don't access it, there's no fire escape, there's no.
So we wouldn't be reducing the egress. Okay, so I would make a motion that based on chapter 92 sub B, C, and D, that we declare this property unsafe. So I will make that motion if I could entertain a second.
I'll second it.
You will, thank you. Is there further questions or discussion?
What's the time frame we're looking at to get them removed?
I believe we have someone lined up to do it before the end of the year,
Is that,
before the snow flies.
is that acceptable to the code enforcement office?
Yeah, I mean, Paul had told me that he was gonna do it as soon as he,
Would you prefer that we also require that there's some kind of
Timeline?
blocking so that nobody goes out there in the meantime? I mean, so that you are
Yeah,
segregating.
they're locked already.
They're locked already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's acceptable?
yeah.
Okay, so our order would be, that these would be removed.
Need the unsafe vote first.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's okay, yep.
Chair Marzick,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Whoops.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Okay.
I was definitely having a little senior
You were
moment there.
ready.
All right, yes, I was. Okay. Having declared it unsafe, I guess the accepted, timetable would
Just say
be
90
90
days.
days.
at 90.
That would be October, November, December.
It's 3 months.
Anyway, sounds good to me.
Okay? Would you like to entertain
I'll make
that
a
motion?
motion that the 90-day limit be.
Just to clarify, is it just that porch that's coming off? Is it an entire structure? Just
It's
like
top porch.
The
Just
two
the
upper
two upper
porches.
porches. Thank you.
Oh, okay, two of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like a first floor porch, there's a second floor porch, and then the third floor is like a roof deck.
So if the first floor porch remains, there will be a new roof over it.
Yeah, the existing first floor porch would have a roof. It's the
First of
Because-
second and third floor deck.
Okay, so there just wouldn't be
Yeah,
any
but-
weight on the first floor
Right.
porch, so
Yeah.
you don't have to worry
This
about the
is like a
structural members
walk-up
there.
path.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And we will put this, I would add to that motion that we put it on our agenda for January to review whether it's been done and whether we can lift the
It's
unsafe.
unsafe, yeah.
Okay.
And what is that process, if you don't mind? Just
Oh,
having
we
them come
just-
back and re-inspect it?
Yes,
make sure.
yes.
And then we'll
yes.
lift the
As soon as
unsafe,
it's
so there's no
done.
longer an unsafe
Right.
attached to the building.
And of course, the other thing that we almost always stipulate, which again, we probably should add if that's acceptable, is that you remove all the debris,
Of course.
so that it's not a hazard to the people who are going by on the sidewalk.
Of course.
Take care.
I guess we're ordering it repaired and,
Prepared and clean.
yes, repaired.
We're not removing them.
Well, repaired and the porch is removed.
And
That's one of our options, repair,
Yes.
vacate, or demolish. Okay, all right, we're good. Second,
I'll second.
thank you. Any further discussion?
Chair Marzick,
Yes.
That's your easy.
Commissioner Palmer, Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Bye, Michelle.
Thank you.
Just keep in touch, will you?
Certainly,
we just-
yes.
you have to
I
promise
think Paul and
you'll
Steve
keep
keep
in
in touch, yes.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right. So the next item on our agenda is Mr. Holder, who is appealing, the 882, which was the local agent designation. I need to know, I guess, from code enforcement, why this is so high.
So Mr. Holder has owned that property for years, and I recently got in, and he seemed to be unaware of the requirements for years. So that is a number 2 or 3 invoice that was sent, because this has been accruing for years. And when I was at, I'm sorry,
How did it not go on his taxes?
I'm sorry,
How did it not go on his
it
taxes?
has.
It has every year.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is the
so
third
this is
year.
like all this year.
All this year, all last year, all the prior year. And when I saw him on the inspection, he brought his tax bill, and he said, "You guys need to take this back." And I said, "You don't have a local agent established. I can't do anything for you." And I said, "You can try to appeal." And when he got his second notice there, he had time to appeal, so he's appealing it. But he did get it in, fine in June. So we do have an established agent now, but we stopped the fee and that was the invoice produced from that.
Okay, let's make sure we all understand this, because it's a little confusing to me. We received from you a copy of the bill and the established agent.
They got the established agent June of 2020.
Right, June. This is dated August, but this is a re-levy of something that had accumulated up to June.
That could be two things. That could be the initial billing of this because we had a gap with Sarah.
Right.
Sarah moved to community development, we had a new hire. So that could have been a delayed billing of that. Or that could have been Sarah closing out with Gail, but I'm thinking it's more delayed billing. So he had 30 days from the date of that invoice to
What I'm asking is you have a service date of 9/30/2021. Oh, 9/30/2021.
21.
Oh, okay. I was thinking 9/30/2022. No. So delayed billing, but I'm sure it would be confusing to him
Yeah,
because he looks at 8/9/22 and he appeals it on August 30th. So he was within the time of this bill, but that bill represented something that had he received this bill before, this exact bill before?
I don't believe so. That was probably the first billing for that.
But he's paid it for 2 years at least. He's been paying on his taxes for
Yeah,
2
but
years.
he's had return to sender, so they might have sent it out, because there's this certified letter that
see
went
that.
back as a return to sender. This is his, right, Gary, yeah.
Oh, it's
That went back on October 2019, came back to us, that he never signed for, unable to forward, unclaimed.
And again, that's been a problem for years, is
Right.
being able to establish.
So it very well might have been that he did get the bill, but he never signed for the bill certified, but he got it regular mail, because we send them both, correct?
Right.
Right.
What I'm trying to clarify in my own mind is $882 represents January 1st
No.
to,
No, so if this is a second or a third year bill, when we close out our fiscal year, it starts a new bill. And this would be the accrual from that
November.
date
that
in
did
November all the way up.
2019.
all of it.
oh, that bill in November.
In November
Okay, up until June.
of 2022.
2019 to
Yep.
2022.
So that's what the 80.
Okay, I think we're going to have to indicate that in the letter that we send back to him. Well, if we decide not to honor his appeal, we go back and say, this bill is for November something or other till June
It's November 22nd.
19th, looks like 19th,
Mhm.
when we received your local agent notice.
Right.
And therefore, your local, we're glad you have a local agent notice, we're glad we aren't billing you anymore, but, oh, I'm sure you won't say that, but this represents up to the time when you finally got your paperwork in. I don't know how you all are gonna vote on this, but it seems to me that can be our response if we choose to. I mean, this did seem like, well, if Tom Rowe's his agent, well, then what's the deal? And the Tom Rowe is his agent now,
Mhm.
but it wasn't his agent up until this time. Okay, so I guess I will make a motion that we deny this appeal with the understanding that a return letter will go to him with a
Okay.
careful itemization of how he happened to get this bill after he designated, why it's dated August 9th, 2022, when he had,
So that will be broke down so he knows how,
yeah.
how it is. All right, I agree.
I mean, it's in the letter you sent to him. It's in this letter that,
Yeah, 250, 900.
No, it isn't. It's in the attachment to that letter that you always sent out. You know,
Oh, the schedule.
Right, the schedule. It's in there, but I don't think he's reading it. So I will make a motion that we deny this appeal and he gets a letter itemizing
He
his,
can't understand.
so that he
I
can
understand.
understand, and so he doesn't come back at us or sue us or something. Oops, I wanted that.
I'll second your motion.
Thank you. Any further questions for code enforcement?
Chair Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're on a lawn mowing appeal from Sage Osa, who lives in Union City, New Jersey, and he writes a very rude letter back to us about poor Dave Platt, who isn't with us any longer. The date of his lawn mowing.
I believe you don't have that right. Mr. Sage never wrote you anything. They didn't know about this appeal until they closed on that house.
So she means this appeal letter that they wrote is,
Yeah, but Mr. Sage did not write it.
oh, that's what she wrote, what he was
Who
saying.
wrote back to us?
His son.
Oh, Dave Platt's son. Oh,
And
Oh,
it was all mowed and done over and done with before they closed on it.
I see, because he did close on June 30th.
Right.
I see.
I'm sorry, so this letter came from Mr. Clapp's son,
Correct.
and he's saying that it was after closing that this bill is
It
from.
was, because it was, the service took place on June 22nd,
Correct.
and the closing took place on 6/30/2022. But I'm sure what happened was when they did, in fact, we got an email. There was a tax search, it was June 15th. This service took, the mowing took place on the 22nd.
21st.
They didn't call, 21st, they didn't call back to say, is there anything between June 15th and June 30th? They'd already done their seeing whether it should apply,
Okay.
and they didn't pick this up, obviously, because it happened in between. And so it's now attached to the property rather than, it wasn't taken care of at closing.
So this appeal is coming from the Clapp family, not from the new owner.
No.
Right.
Well,
The
Correct,
prior,
because they have
Prior
not been
family.
billed for it yet.
Because the new owners have not been billed for it.
all right,
So then why don't we just do that?
yeah, you're right.
I make a
But how are we
motion that
going
we
to
just bill
collect
the
it?
new
How
owners.
can we collect it if Dave Clapp has died?
Well, we wouldn't be able to collect it from them, but it's not his responsibility anyway. It's the new people's responsibility.
So you're saying if the new owner.
It's their title search that they didn't catch
Uh-huh.
all of the.
It's very true.
Closing
9/30th?
date, the closing date was the 30th. The bill for the mowing was sent out on the 22nd, so Dave Platt, in all reality, still owned the house, even though he was deceased. That's what the county had on record until the 30th of June.
Right,
Oh, so the closing didn't happen until the 30th of June.
yeah. So the new owner hasn't appealed it. It's attached to his property.
But he doesn't even know about it, obviously.
the
And
new owner,
Yeah.
the new owner does know about it now.
He does know about it.
Because we
What
told
did the
them.
new owner say? I don't care
They
about
don't
paper.
understand why they're getting, why they.
I'm gonna make a
should
motion
have
that
been
we,
taken care of at closing.
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the appeal and we just let this go. Because the new owner, it's not fair to the new owner, they didn't close till the 30th, and the gentleman's deceased,
Except the
It's-
tax
it's-
search didn't pick it up.
right.
So whoever their attorney was, hopefully wasn't Dave.
I was gonna say that.
So they're really not, they're really not
Right.
at fault. The owners are really not at fault. Obviously, Mr. Clapp can't be at fault either, so I make a motion to approve the appeal and we'll keep it at 125.
I am not opposed to what you're saying.
I'm not either. I think that makes sense.
However, it's no fault
Of
of,
our own,
It's
it's
no
not
fault.
our, yeah, but just because of the circumstances, that's why I make the appeal. Not because of the city making error, having any error or anything like that, just
That's fair to the new owner too.
Sorry.
You know, what's kind of funny, this is kind of off the record, I suppose, but it's not really off the
It's
record.
not off the record because it's being recorded.
The Claps received a letter
I'll throw it out.
before the closing saying this is a problem. And the Claps did nothing about it. And they were like, we're closing, we don't care.
They may not have received it.
They might have
And
had
they're
that
no
at the
longer
time.
responsible.
21st it's billed, but when it didn't go out till
But the letter went to them
the 20th.
that you have to, your,
She had already moved south at that point.
Yeah.
oh, they'd already
So
moved.
they had already
Yeah.
moved.
Okay, all right,
So
you're right,
they may not
okay.
have, yeah.
So your motion is,
Yes.
do you have a motion?
I do have a motion, I just need a second.
Don't worry.
So that's like seven.
That's what I thought.
It was a forwarding notice, correct. So mine was still 15 inches, so.
To vote?
Yes,
Chairman Sid,
yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
I was very close to
Commissioner
the
Livermore, Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Sorry,
Oh, it's okay.
we'll get it from poor Mrs.
I feel bad because I know you guys do all the legwork, but it's just a matter of
Well, this
circumstances,
is
the way
a
it
different
falls.
situation.
Yeah,
It's very strange.
No, none of it.
Okay,
We never
so
got-
now we're down to 189 Chestnut Street. And I can tell you a little bit about 189 Chestnut Street. 189 Chestnut Street was the warming station. It was managed by Catholic Charities and it was funded by donations of the community and the Code Blue funding for the operation of it. The building itself is owned by Mr. Terrell, who has not lived in Indiana for quite a long time. And he has several properties, all of which are going to be coming before us, I believe. The warming station, was likely to be moving from that building anyway because it was slightly inadequate in terms of the size of the building for the numbers that the Catholic Charities was getting. In the course of that, the warming station was open from November 1st until April 30th. After that, there was a rain, it was known that the roof was not good and the roof collapsed. And it's now no longer in consideration for the warming station. According to all the information I have, Mr. Turrell knows about the deficiency, certainly about this property because he was renting it as to the Catholic Charities.
This is the house right next door to them, right?
But,
The
pardon
yellow
me?
home? This is the yellow apartment building right next door to them?
No, this is the building,
That was you.
just down from the marketplace. That was the warming station. It's a one-story
Roof
thing,
on it now.
yeah, and it's got a blue roof on it
It's a
now.
drive-by.
But it's got a blue tarp on it.
Yeah,
Blue
and it's caution
That's
no,
not-
caution
Yes.
takes off, no parking. Okay. But the building next door isn't
No,
part of his?
no.
That
He's
was the
got-
problem.
He's got a number of properties,
He's got one with a blue tarp, he's got one right next door
which
that's
is
currently
the
vacant.
garage.
One across the street that's currently vacant. So
Parking spot across.
we have this, we have the roof collapse, but, you know, it gets our attention because we have multiple vacant properties
Within.
and they've been sitting there for very
There's
long.
the warming station.
Yeah, I was asking if the yellow house was, I know
No,
the,
no.
I know the warming station
No,
because I
no,
had
no.
somebody
He
else
doesn't
do.
own the yellow
But the
house.
one, I thought it was, that was part of his properties too, okay.
Marge, could we stop for a minute? This is one of the guys involved with 40 Spruce, and you could give him
Oh, okay.
so he doesn't have to.
Oh,
sit
so
here.
come on in, sit right up here in front.
Sure.
We're
Have a seat,
on
Steve.
189. So, we usually deal with a piece of property and then the people say, okay, good, bye. You know, so we're like a doctor's office. Next. So tell us what you would like to tell us about 180. This is 189?
No.
40
40
Spruce, we voted
Spruce.
on already.
40 Street.
40 Spruce, we just
Oh,
voted on.
okay, we're coming back to that. We're just on the next property. We've already made a decision on 40 Spruce.
That's what I thought, maybe you would want to tell him so he doesn't have to stay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I was
All
still
right,
quite clear.
so 40 Spruce, we have decided that it was an unusual circumstance because the original owner died, his family moved to South Carolina,
Florida.
right, Florida, and you closed on the property or someone related to you closed on the property, and they didn't know that it had been mowed and it was before ownership. So we've decided to vacate the appeal, or vacate the charge.
Perfect.
It's a little bit against our better judgment because everyone will want us to come in for those reasons. But we decided based on the circumstances that it really wasn't your responsibility.
Welcome.
And so we said, thank you very much, the charges are dropped.
Make sure you mow it, just kidding.
No, sir, no, I was just gonna tell him, make sure you mow it.
Because
we
now
know
you're
where-
on the radar, not just
Well, we
kidding.
know where, no, it's,
You
it's all right.
are, no.
We know where Jared lives, so.
That's right.
We'll keep track.
Where do I live?
It's in the records downstairs.
Joe, thank you very much for.
Okay,
for-
yeah, I just thought,
Yeah,
I
for
was just jump in and
Because
say-
now the doctor has finished with you.
Perfect. Keep it up.
Welcome
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Welcome, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Absolutely.
Okay, so anyway, that's the situation. I think we're going to see more of Mr. Terrell's properties. They are not being well taken care of.
We have him on commercial vacant property registration right now.
Because he has a number of properties. It's unfortunate. He's a
You
very
see the pile
fine
of junk
person,
out
but
in front of the yellow house right now?
Oh, yes, is that still there?
Oh, it's there.
Okay. Well, so,
I mean, I
yes.
haven't been home yet today, but it was there this
Go
morning.
right by there every day, don't you?
Oh, I do.
We'll figure
And
something
then
out.
more stuff keeps getting added to it, and I'm like,
Yep, I agree with you.
We are
This
we are
week,
currently
yeah.
down hay.
You gotta go by there every day.
so
I've been cleaning.
Yeah.
in the case of this unsafe building at
No, I'm
189,
not
which is the,
picking up garbage.
oh, that's so sad, because it was such a good spot.
it was.
And I knew a lot of people that were volunteering there.
Yes, it's really, it's a fine
You know what's gonna happen next
ministry
winter?
in Oneonta, and it's intended to continue.
That's good.
It
Glad
just
you're-
won't be there.
Just the three commercial.
Just won't be.
There were a lot of people using that facility.
They were full every night,
Yep.
and because of the local funding that they received, they were able to be open every night and not
Right.
just Code Blue nights, which
Right.
is a real important thing.
Important
I mean, it's one of the reasons that everybody's enthusiastic about the service, because and they were actually, able to, with this setup, in the past, they've sent people to hotels.
Right.
With this setup, they had trained counselors there who could give them assistance in transitioning to permanent housing or getting services or whatever, which is really good.
Came out of it, you're right.
It's really wonderful. So unfortunately, this property has suffered. So based on the criteria that has been identified by the Code Enforcement Office, those which have suffered 50% damage of non-supporting enclosing or outside walls, those which have improperly distributed loads upon the floors, roofs, or are overloaded, those which have been damaged by fire, wind, and other causes so as to become dangerous to the safety, health, morals, or general welfare, and those who have parts attached which may fall and injure members of the public or property, those which have become unsafe, unsanitary, and dangerous, and that's that. So I would entertain a motion based on the testimony, our own information about the building, and what we see here in the order from Code Enforcement Office, that we declare this property unsafe based on B, C, D, H, and I of Chapter 92. Or you think
I'll
that's-
second it.
Is that, so, am I saying that? Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. Is there any discussion? No. Okay,
Chairman Russo,
yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore,
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey.
Yes. So you-
Based on that determination, what I have not really discussed with Code, what they would like in terms of remedying. There are parts of this building which are worthy, and if it had a new roof and some repair on the inside, it could be, I mean, I think repair is possible here. I certainly think, but I don't know, what do you think? Do you want it demolished?
I think you could probably order either or, and if he chooses to repair it, he has, what, a month and a half before snow flies, and you're gonna have more roof issues then.
I mean, I guess if he wants to demolish his otherwise sound building to,
Yeah.
Have you been in touch with this gentleman at all, or no?
I
Like,
haven't.
just the appeals, I think you
People
tried
in
to
the
call
community
once, right?
have.
I'm sorry?
People in the community have been in touch with him. His family's a little bit in denial about the condition of his various properties and thinking that they can sell them for a profit, and therefore, they're kind of frozen. I mean, Mr. Turl, both Phil and I know Mr. Turl personally. This is a difficult situation for us, although I don't think it's fair to the city for us to, I'm sort of speaking for Phil, for us to abstain from decisions here. But I think something has to be done.
Who made them board up the parking lots with no parking lot? Did the city do that, or did they do that on their
I think
own?
they did that on their own.
Because that never was until like last week.
Yeah,
No,
No.
you're right.
But one of the
But,
problems is the worry that someone will get into the building and it's in
Yeah.
such bad shape. So that's, I think, why there's barriers. And if we say we want it secured,
Right.
and we have to do it, like if we give Mr. Turl a deadline and say it has to be at least secured, we are ordering it repaired,
Right.
or at your choice demolished, I think we need to recognize that it may come that the city has to secure the building.
Yeah, my concern is that we don't have it secured now, the winter is coming, and those that don't know that's not the warming station
Right.
anymore are going to go there to look for the warming station, because they're used to it.
And
And
not all of
unfortunately,
Moriana,
And they're
out of
not
town, too.
from Oneonta only, they come from other
They come from other
communities
places.
too with the warming station, so that's my concern.
and it is a concern, and unfortunately, the cafeterias has not found us another location yet. And so they're scrambling. This is definitely not it. This is not, it is, it's a big, very big shame, very, very big shame. All right, so what do you think we should do in terms of an order?
I think that I would like to make a motion that it is secured within the next 15 days. I think that's enough time to secure it at best, and then 30, 60 days to fix it
60 days repaired or demolished?
or tomorrow.
Yeah, I would say,
It's not gonna be, let's
It's
just.
not gonna get demolished,
It's
I
not
don't
gonna
think
get
they will.
demolished.
They'll never demolish
But
it.
at least we, at least are securing it so that people see that it's not the warming station anymore.
Somehow they gotta do that, because these people just, they don't, aren't all Moriana, they can come out.
Right, and they might not reach out to Catholic Charities beforehand, they might just show up, so that's my
Oh, yeah.
concern once, because it's starting to get cold at night. I mean,
It is,
except
we
for
have,
today.
we really have less than a month before
Right.
it would normally be
Correct.
open.
So my motion would be to at least have it secured within 15 days.
Yeah.
And if they don't, city will do it. And then order repaired within 60, 30
Yeah, sure, 60 days is good.
60 days?
That's
I'm
like
gonna
that.
Steve for the answer. 60 days,
I'll
or
take-
demolished if they so choose with the rubbish removed.
I think, let's do repaired,
Yeah,
and then we'll revisit it,
okay.
That's it.
because I don't think we wanna muddy the message to Mr. Turl
Yeah,
that
no,
something has to be done,
yeah.
and it can be delayed. I think
I'm sad that
really
it's in
important
that-
for us
I
to.
agree.
Okay, so you're seconding
I'll
the
second that
motion,
motion, just as you said.
Secure within 15.
okay? Any further discussion? Anything you wanna add here? Any different feeling about this? Okay.
Chairman,
Yes.
Commissioner Palmer,
No.
Commissioner Gilmore, Commissioner Levinson.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that wise decision-making. as I was explaining to you, this is very difficult.
Yeah,
Or-
sure.
So,
This makes me very sad, actually, because such a great start.
did we do Mr. Holder?
Yeah, he was the Walnut Street.
They had my.
Oh, that's a little bit
My
different.
son, she was.
All right, so now we have, did we have,
243 Chestnut.
okay,
Yep.
all right, 243 Chestnut.
That's this yellow one, right? That's why I saw the picture attached to a thing
Says
on
It's
nine.
Italian. Who's taking over the
it. Does look like it,
Italian?
right?
Is that so? I know he is.
Mr. Process it.
Oh.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
so things are going, notices are going to him?
That's what John told me.
Yeah, so John Bagliardo used to be the agent at this place. He's not involved anymore, so apparently this Trossett is the guy now,
Attorney of record.
the attorney of record of record.
Okay, so, I do not have, did I just jump over it?
There is no letter.
There's no letter.
Oh,
Yeah, this
so
was
we
one
have
that
to
we,
decide,
This is, yeah,
this is one that we just, I went there with the police. I mean, we keep getting called there for garbage. I went there with the police on, I don't know what day it was.
oh dear, okay, so,
This is a rental, right?
So that's kind of a tricky topic. I don't think it's a rental. I think there might just be people crashing there.
Squatting there.
So if you look, the second picture, there's like an orange extension cord dropped from one window to the next.
There are people.
This was a 2-unit house, but one of the electrical meters has been pulled. Yeah, right there. And it looks like they're pulling power from one apartment to the next. Because there's one meter pulled, so there's only one meter, but there's an extension cord running
so
between
who's
the
paying
two.
the utilities?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really don't
All right.
know.
So, I
They
am
let
going
you
to
in?
come down.
Well, so they didn't really let us in. I was there with the police. The doors were all open. So when we knocked on the door with the cops, they came, one of the individuals there came out.
I haven't actually been to this property.
They're the same people that were living at 3 Hill Place, which was the one with the giant garbage mound in the backyard.
Oh,
Okay, you're going to have to help us with what criteria.
that was the one that Penny
you're
was
going to
from.
declare this unsafe.
No,
Um,
that's a different.
Okay,
He'll,
That one's on 8th Street, this
so
one,
I'm
that one's not on
assuming
Hill Place.
Where's
this,
it from?
So
The
I would
original
say,
one was 8th
Oh,
Street.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
they're getting closer to you.
They're all coming to me. What's going, I see what happens when I'm not the council person anymore.
okay, I'm gonna let you speak on it.
Got any more empty ones down there?
No,
From the
there's
pictures,
enough,
Do you know what that, can you please?
from the pictures we have,
379.
Chestnut.
243.
Steve is going to help us determine which criteria are appropriate. So we have, A is not appropriate,
so E, I, and J are the most
E,
appropriate.
E, I, J.
Okay.
You know,
how
at
about F? How about F?
I mean, maybe, we know that there's
That's
some
for the-
plumbing and electric issues in there, but we haven't actually really inspected or,
All right, so E will cover that. All right, so E, I, and
and
J.
J.
Oh, it's, no, it is.
It's the one that says, has the quality.
Do you need a list?
It's the one,
They each
no, I got it. It's, she's trying to place where the house is. It's the
Yeah.
one next, almost, if you're going towards Nick's Diner from our house.
Yep.
It's on your right side. It's next to the right house that does the Christmas decoration.
Okay. I know where it is. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
What's her name?
There's still
Dad's
say-
house.
It still has a sign out
Yeah, it
front.
says
Has
quality.
the sign out
But it's a
front.
rental.
Rental, it says it's
Rental.
rentals, but it's not rental. That's why I
Okay.
wrote
Whatever.
rentals.
So having
I don't
seen
Quality.
the pictures here and recognizing that the property is somewhat unattended, we, it's recommended that we determine this is unsafe based on E, I, and J of chapter 92.
And on a side note, the reason that this place looks as clean as it kind of does in those pictures is because we are actively going and picking up garbage there.
As I said, I remember there being stuff in the front at one point, they were
Yeah.
fixing it, and then,
Well, so we've been going there and just picking up garbage because the next door neighbor calls us every day to tell us there's garbage.
Just a couple doors up and there, isn't it?
All right, so I make a motion that based on E, I, and J, we declare this property unsafe.
Seconded.
Further discussion? Want to add anything? No. Okay,
Chairman Marson?
yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lenz?
yes.
Okay, so having determined that it's unsafe, we're obviously going to order it vacated.
Yes.
We're going to order it repaired.
What's your timeline for vacation?
Vacation within 30 days,
I can take one now.
sooner.
Just kidding. Yes, I mean, I would say,
Well,
I don't know, I mean, it probably should be immediately vacated because we are under the belief that these people are just,
Squatters.
yeah, we have no reason to believe these are tenants, these are just.
Okay, so.
Have we
can't
been in
do it
touch with the
faster.
owner?
We can't do it, yes, and then it's gonna go to Mr. Trossett. So we're going to say within 10 days,
okay, 10 days.
because it takes that long to get
Yeah,
it
it's-
going.
Yeah.
And, repaired,
Secure.
oh, secured, yes, thank you, secured,
Immediate? In 10
yes,
days?
that we
Well,
can
you
do,
can't
10 days.
secure, you can't secure it before it's.
Well, we gotta secure in 10 days so that it goes along with the vacate, right?
Yes.
Right, and repaired, within 30 days.
These are renters, right?
They're squatters.
Can we also have the garbage cleaned up with that as well?
Well, we do that anyway, that we just do,
Yeah,
And you bill the
yeah.
owner.
right. Although I think after this meeting, we should just say that you're gonna go tomorrow and you're gonna clean it up. This is somewhat of an emergency, let's get their attention right
Yeah.
away, and in the 10 days that it'll take our letter to get to them will also be a bill.
Yeah.
I hope you're not watching. So, I'm very punchy today.
Well,
Pardon me?
why do we have to keep cleaning up somebody else's garbage? I mean, we have enough to do.
Anything further?
Is that your motion? Are you putting that motion
I'm
forward?
putting that full motion.
I'll second it.
So would you repeat the motion now that we finally have something?
So we're gonna vacate within 10 days,
Yes.
secure within 10 days,
Maybe.
repair 30 days with garbage removed, and Codes is going to clean it on 10/7.
You are something else.
Okay. She did, she's very fast, and we really appreciate it, making sense of our business. Yes, the answer is, my vote is yes.
Commissioner Palmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Livermore?
Yes.
Commissioner Lenz?
Yes.
Okay, there's one more item, do you have anything you'd like to share with the board while I'm looking at my minutes to say there's one property owner must be done?
Is everybody doing what they're supposed to with their little agreements?
So far, yes, so far. Scott is being watched he's got till December. Linton Johnson, it's stagnated on Rose a little, but he's within his timeline.
What about Mr. Lloyd?
Lloyd, so I went up there and I took more pictures of his property. Haven't heard a word,
This is
every
actually-
notice that I've sent, so I can't even get in contact with him at all. I talked to Steve about that today. I think since we lost a guy, we're gonna have to get DPW up there to put some fencing or something up around it. Because I know that's what you guys wanted last time. But yeah, I've heard nothing at all.
That's a shame, that's a real shame.
So that one, chances are, again, I was thinking about bringing it this month, but you'll definitely get it next month, probably for blighted.
Okay, so let's put 40 Cherry Street back on the agenda for next month, and we'll make a full-blown unsafe. It won't be just emergency action. These are clear. Any other items for us?
Oh,
Thank you.
what, you know what I forgot, 46 East Street.
Oh, Dennis?
Yeah, Dennis.
I gave him a
What's this property?
violation notice for summons.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, he's got a couple of days. Dennis Crop. Dennis Crop, we went over for a tenant complaint. He's storing, they're
Massive
storing,
amounts of garbage.
yeah, it's just garbage in the building. It smelled awful.
Lots of garbage.
It's piled almost to the ceiling. The basement has tons of garbage in it. The garage has been a fire hazard. Actually, that was declared unsafe
It's also full of
years
garbage.
ago.
How about if we do blighted?
Do we have blighted? I'd have to check if we've already determined that one blighted, but maybe not.
I don't think we have. I think we declared that unsafe before
We
blighted
have,
came
yep.
into effect.
Yeah. So we
I
may-
think
we
that
may-
would get his attention. We'll test it.
What
Also,
address?
46 East Street. It is a long problem property.
I don't have
It's,
it on my list.
it's very old. It's
Years
very
old.
early. But what he's
It's
saying is that
arrested
there's
for code
garbage
violation.
inside the building and the garage.
I don't
is
have it
full.
blighted though on my list. I mean, that
No,
doesn't
I
mean
don't
my list
think
is
it's
right,
right.
but.
Yeah, I don't think we've
Dennis
declared
or
it.
Denny?
So let's do
It
that.
is blighted.
David.
It is?
David. He was-
Did we declare that blighted?
September of 2019.
Really?
Based upon the criteria of the blighted property ordinance, the property at 46 East Street is
Oh,
found to have a value of 200 points and found to meet the criteria
Yeah.
of the blighted
We
property.
haven't gone in.
She's still
Been in it 25
Well, this is, I believe we're going through court. We're
Yeah.
gonna have to go through court. Mr. Crop was arrested by the state police for code violations.
Oh.
So,
What happens when you don't go to court, by the way?
right,
But he's still blighted.
he's still blighted, he's still unsafe, he's still at threat of getting a summons within days of now, to go back to court. So, we've done everything we can do.
Except the 2,500.
Right, that's been, I'll have to check where the
So
fee is.
his taxes last year were like 6,000. He had a
Yeah,
massive
he
tax.
probably had a blighted fee last year as well.
Massive
You
tax.
just didn't appeal it.
I feel sad about that. Very
Did
sad.
you really appeal it?
Okay, if there's no further business